Hello. In this video, we'll be discussing Citizens United versus the FEC, a case where the Supreme Court established certain standards about the political and speech rights of organizations as they relate to campaign finance rules. In 2002, Congress passed the Bipartisan Campaign Finance Reform Act, which is also known as the McCain-Feingold Law. This law set new rules and restrictions on how groups could donate to political organizations and on how political organizations could spend money. If you're familiar with the bit in political commercials where a candidate says, "I'm so-and-so and I approve this message," that's one example of a requirement set by the BCRA to help voters figuring out who was spending money on an ad. Another rule that the law established was that in the time shortly before an election, groups other than a candidate's official campaign were prohibited from spending money on advertisements or other communications designed to advocate for or against a particular candidate. And this was the biggest regulation that the Citizens United group was afraid of violating and sued to get out from under. This group, a nonprofit organization, produced a movie critical of then Senator Hillary Clinton and her 2008 campaign for the presidency. They wanted to pay cable companies to have the movie available on demand and spend money on ads for the movie. The group sued in court in order to ensure that the Federal Election Commission would not be able to block them from doing so. Citizens United claimed that the BCRA was violating its right to free speech by preventing it from expressing its views on Senator Clinton. This raises the question of whether an organization can have speech rights or if rights are possessed by individual persons only. And if Citizens United does have a right to free speech, does the government violate those rights by setting limits on a group's election spending? And what about other requirements of the BCRA, such as disclosing the names of people who donate? Well, in a 5-4 decision, the court ruled that organizations, such as corporations and nonprofit groups and unions, do have free speech rights, and that preventing them from spending money advocating for or against a candidate does violate those rights. Now, this is in keeping with previous decisions by the court that organizations and corporations can be treated like persons under the law, and also decisions that spending money on political campaigns is a form of speech and expression that's protected by the First Amendment. The court ruled that the government does have an interest in ensuring some level of transparency in campaign funding and spending, so the court did not invalidate the disclosure requirements. The dissenters felt that this government interest was also sufficient to justify the other restrictions of the BCRA, but their position did not win the day. The Citizens United case and others like it help usher in the age of super PACs, in which independent expenditures can dwarf the amount of money officially raised and spent by campaigns. Money doesn't always guarantee victory. Jeb Bush went nowhere in the 26th Republican primary, despite a super PAC that raised $100 million. But it definitely shapes the landscape, and Citizens United was a significant factor in setting the course that modern campaigns follow. Thanks for watching.